listeners. We are in the Vanarama North or South rather, so the Conference South, all the way on the farthest southwestern point just about the farthest southwestern point in England. So the closest lower league English side to where I am in New York, I guess, would probably be the best description here. So they are newly promoted into the Vanarama National League South for this edition of Football Manager and this year. So our goal here, so we're going to put in a long-term save here where we are going to aspire to take Truro City to the Premier League and win the Premier League. We'll take a look when we get to the Premier League if there's other goals, other trophies, other things we want to try and win. But for now, we've got the Conference Premier, the League Two, League One, the Championship, and then the Premier League to deal with. So I think that's a good enough goal as it stands. So I want to take you through a couple of little pieces, and then we'll jump into to the actual first match of the season here to get all things underway. But we have our squad. So right now they have nothing in terms of any league stats on them, but we'll jump in and take a look when we get into our tactics screen in a minute. So just from an expectation perspective, they're very low. We're here to avoid being relegated, and not do too much in. They hope we win a couple of rounds in the FA Cup. And they hope we win a couple of rounds in the FA Trophy. For me, given the club's financial situation and the fact that with the preseason friendlies, I really wasn't able to do a lot with trying to make money based on location and the club's finances and where we are. I'm hoping to actually exceed these. I'd like to get to the first round, and if we can really, really play well, a second round in the FA Cup would be insane. But I'd like to try and get to the first round of the FA Cup. For the money on that one, and then try and get as deep as I can in the FA Trophy. We're going to need the cash to get us through till next season. I think next season we'll be able to put in a better preseason with better fixtures. We can make some more money and try and do things, but we're going to have to do whatever we can this year to stabilize the funds so that the club doesn't kind of go awry. In terms of youth setup, not much in the under 21s. A couple of guys. I promoted the two guys up to the senior squad that looked like they were capable of playing at the senior squad. So these guys are mostly just kind of bums. And then sort of similar in our under 18s. There's not a whole lot of great in here, but these guys are these guys are all 16, 15. So we'll see where it goes over the course of the season. And look, hopefully our first youth intake is something exciting in there. So here's the squad. We have one tactic up right now. We're becoming accomplished in it. It's a highly defensive 4-4-2. So obviously we're going in on the wrong side of most of these fixtures here. So we're going to need to be careful. I want to, I don't have the highest, most proficient practitioners, out there. So we're trying to be very careful. We're trying to be very cautious, and trying to be secure with the ball. We don't have great dribblers and great individual standouts in here, so we're going to do this as a collective team effort. And you'll see when we play. This is going to be a very kind of dull football to watch. It's not going to be the most powerful, exciting, free-flowing, attacking football that I really like to play. That's going to come in seasons in the future when we have the ability to start molding this club to our liking. But until then, we're going to play the hand we're dealt and see what we can do. So in this case, the hand that we're dealt, so we have a very simple defending goalkeeper. Across the back line, 2 limited fullbacks and 2 limited defenders set on defend. Richards is by far the standout back, and we'll go through each of the players in a minute in more detail. And then our left back is on loan. In the midfield, we have a very supporting midfield with a holding defensive midfielder in there, and then a target man and an advanced forward up front on this one. We'll start from the youth up. So Kieran Hardy is a midfielder who was from our under 21s. I think he's got, he was actually in the under 21s. I don't know, he's at 16. So he has a fair amount of potential in here. So he's rated very highly by the staff. They think he's a conference Premier level player. So pretty good in the physical space. Okay in the technicals, and he's got some okay mental, decent leadership, good determination, decent vision. His work rate's kind of crap, so we're gonna have to deal with some of that. But he's dirt cheap, and he works off on the bench as a backup. And you can see he hasn't played terribly well or terribly poorly for us in the preseason. And then the other one, another 16-year-old, um, John Cotterill, who's a left back for us. Again, not the fastest guy out, but decent. He pretty even across the board, which is something I like. And he's again cheap, so he provides some depth for us. So we'll go through the rest of the starting 11 here. So Martin Rice is our goalkeeper in here. So coaching staff loves him for this level. That's something I think we're going to turn over at the end of the season, is try and hire new staff. So there were no scouts in this. That's the only scouting, or that's the only addition I've done with to the coaching staff. I haven't changed anything else. We'll look to change that over at the end of this year. I want to kind of get it through the season. So he's an ex Torquay, so he's been up to League Two and the Vanarama, the Premiership. So, and he's been with us for a couple of years in there, or before. He's been with us before, so he's got some decent experience in here. Not bad for this level. I'm okay and reasonably happy with him on the squad. We can get a couple of years out of him on that. Jake Ash, again, a little older left back here. He's much better. Not the greatest crosser and dribbler you've ever seen, and that's a bit of a trend. And you'll see in my tactical instructions how we're going to counter that. But pretty good in terms of mentals. So being able to be in the right place at the right time and make a decent decision and focus on the game. Not a great tackler or passer, but good work rate in that. So somebody I'm pretty reasonably happy with. Aaron Pugh, not bad as a limited defender. 6'5", good jumping reach, good heading, okay strength. He has some ability to get popped around a little bit, but decent positioning and aggression and bravery. So he'll go in and get the ball for us, which is something I like. Jamie Richards, who's probably our standout center back, 6 foot, again, another good reach and heading, again, a little bit on the strength piece, but he's good enough to get into the right place at the right time and go get the ball. So that's a good sign on that one. And then on loan from, Exeter in here, not Torquay. I apologize. Is another fullback for us in here. Again, not the greatest guy, not a real great dribbler, crosser. Okay, pretty good passer in that case. So we leverage that, but I'm not going to get these guys are not going to successfully bomb forward for us. Les Affle. So if you played the game the last time Truro was in the conference, Les Affle was a big player up there for them. So he's still with the club, getting on a little bit in years, but still pretty good overall, for the level. Not the fastest guy in the world, so you're going to play him. I'm playing him as that wide midfielder. I don't want him. I don't want him pushing quite so much in there. He's not going to be able to get up and back fast enough, so we want him. But good mentals. He can put himself in the right place for the most part at the right time. But good teamwork and work rate in there, so he's going to work for the team on that one. Cody Cook, again, midfielder for us. So apparently he's been dropping a little bit here in his stats, which is disappointing, all things considered. But not a bad, center midfielder. Nothing super special. And actually, we're going to do this on that front. So nothing super special on that one. Craig Duff, again, better speed out of him. Again, we have good passing, just not good dribblers, so we don't want them running around with the ball. And then Brett on the other side, on the outside. Again, not the fastest dude in the world. He wants to play winger, but he's more of a wide midfielder in the sense. Better crosser, so he's going to be a little bit better to go down with. Then we have Matt Wright out up here as our target man. So 6 foot, decent jumping region, heading. on that. Okay passer, decent composure, not the greatest first touch and finisher you've ever met, but I think he'll get the job done. And then Liam Prin, who's on loan from Torquay, um, in this sense. So he's a little better, a little faster, better finisher. Again, mentally not the strongest one in the world. Good teamwork and work rate in there. So we're playing him as an advanced forward. Isaac Vassell is our other striker up here, target man. He's much faster, so he's he's going to be our substitute for speed. Again, not a great finisher, but at least he'll be able to chase balls down up there. So I have a highly rotated squad um, in there. So I want to just put this back in here. I had a rotated squad in there, so you can see we don't have the deepest bench. We only have 10 on the bench, so rotation is going to be something we're going to have to play a little bit with. We can always go down into the youth, but I'd really like to avoid it. The squad financially just can't really bear a big squad right now, so we need to be a little careful with how we manage this. So you can see we have a very 4-4-2 defensive, highly structured. I don't want lots of guys doing lots of things. They're just not that capable. Tempo, we play super slow. We don't close down to get knocked out of shape. We mix up how we pass. We're very disciplined. We stay on our feet. We play out of defense, keep a normal line. We will adjust that a little bit in games if we need to. But the big key is we dribble less. So we want them to pass. I don't want them running on the ball. I want them to get the ball, look for the next guy, pass. Get the ball, look for the next guy, pass. I don't want them kind of going crazy with things on that. So that's the tactic that we're playing. Just to see sort of fixture wise, I shoved a couple of extra friendlies in. So we played our under 21s and won 4-2. We then played Bodmin, who's lower than us. Beat them 4-2. They happen to be another local one. Plymouth Parkway was another local one. We beat them 3-0. Falmouth, we beat them 4-0. And Alberton Villa, we beat 3-1. The Plymouth under 21s was the one I was more interested in, or the most interested in of our preseason, being that these guys are Plymouth Argyle. Just to see if we can get it right. So is a League Two side, so you would expect that they have a better youth academy, youth setup. So I would expect their U21s to be more conference premier level, with some guys who are getting who are League Two or pretty close to League Two ready on that. So I was impressed with a 2-1 victory on that one. In terms of the club, so they were promoted. They did spend a year in the Vanarama South, and then they got bumped back down in the 2012-2013 season in their second season, and then they've been down for a year in here, and then they finished third and came up via the promotion playoffs. So our goal is totally to keep them in this division. As you can see, here we are. The one thing I did do is we do have an affiliation, so we have a senior affiliation with Crawley in League Two. So one, it's more out of money, and then we'll be able to see what we can do in terms of players out of it. But right now, this was really a dollars deal for us. We could use the money in there. So that's it for right now. So we're going to jump in and play Margate. So it is opening day in the Vanarama National League South. We are away to Margate. Our tactic isn't really changing right now, back and forth. As the season evolves, we may add a little something more in terms of dynamicism to things. But right now, we want to play a super cautious sort of pass first, defensive possession based style. It's not going to be super attractive, but right now we're looking for effective. If we can kind of get into the 40-ish point zone, that's where we want to be. So that's kind of what this season's targeting at. Is we're gonna spend our effort on the cups and doing well in the cups, and then trying to make some money. Yeah, I know we're lacking fitness. Try and make some money there to kind of get the club stable, and then next year try and make it a little bit more of a breakout year for us. So here we go. We'll offer our advice. Go get the boys all fired up, and away we go. Just double check this quick. Okay. So you can see from the outset, it's a bit of a, well, of course he starts, dribbling, which is what we didn't want him to do. But you can kind of see, yeah, possession overall is fairly even. We haven't played up at this level of competition yet. I was trying. It's a little difficult to get people to come way, way out to the southern tip there to play us. So I'm hopeful that next year, with another year in the conference, we can attract a little bit better, do a better job of getting some fees and things like that into to play. But we may end up playing a lot more at home, which is going to cut those margins down on us. But Prin gets it. Ooh, just wide. But we're able to pick it back up. Ooh, pocket picked, but we'll take the corner. As you can see, we got decent possession here at 56%. Oop, Duff, is that enough to get in there? Come on. Aw, dang it, another corner. Nope, that one's out. That's going out for a throw-in. Okay. Well, a couple of decent highlights. You can tell we're pretty good at putting pressure on an opponent because we're not putting ourselves in a lot of, there's not a lot of risk. We may get hit up on the counter by better squads as we get into the season more, especially if they're able to pick a pass and kind of catch us in transition since we're a bit more methodical. But the way I have things set up, I expect that we should have more guys back, so it shouldn't be as big an issue. So we shouldn't get caught out as badly like that. We're not going to turn teams on the counterattack. That's a big part of the game that we're not going to play. In that case, you saw the ball going up to our forwards to just hold up and let the team all kind of come. We're looking very much to play a well-supported, patient attacking game. We're going to try and break it down, and 1-0 is an okay result as far as I'm concerned. 0-0, 1-0 are totally okay results as far as I'm concerned. I don't want the team getting crazy in transition. They're just not, mentally and physically and technically good enough to play a high speed, highly transition based game. We're going to need to improve the squad significantly before we get into something like that. So we're going to tell him to keep going. I'm a bit disappointed, so we're going to put Isaac in here. Let's shake up the midfield just because he's got a card. Okay, we'll send him back out. So 0-0 at the half, not bad. Not bad into game one here. We tend to not score till late, but most of the time, but that's okay. As long as we're patient, hopefully the substitutions we made kind of inspire the side a little bit here to play a little better. Vassal's definitely speed. He's a much bigger speed threat. Long throw. Andy Pugh with the nice header to clear that one out, and we'll reset. So hopefully we can kind of get into space. Oof, whacks the post, clears that one oddly, but see, he can do that, which is get into the space and kind of hold the ball up for us, which is always a highly attractive talent for our striker in that respect. I think we're going to run things out a little longer before we attempt to make our last substitution here. I don't want to get too caught up or too caught out. Yeah, we're going to end up playing him out. I'm okay. I mean, he's a bit younger, so he may make another mistake, but I'd rather. Let's see here. Mr. Affle out on the right. Mr. Green, you're in for the knackered Les Affle. Okay, well, we're in this one to the end now. Let's see if this helps us, since they're playing a very, very narrow formation, and they do have a bunch defensively set, a pretty defensive setup over there. So let's see if we shift this to being wide. we inspire some kind of a reasonably positive result. We're not going to get in. The squad isn't good enough to get into a spot where we're going to. Ideally, I'd like to have a squad capable where I could tell them, kind of dump and chase wide into the corners, have some speedy, strikers up front that can, nice right to our guy, that would be able to kind of get out there, get the ball, get in behind them, in space behind them, and then exploit it for a corner in, by pulling them apart. But we're just not built like that kind of a squad. So I'd rather play a patient, sort of dull-ish game here. Are we going to end up with a? I'd rather play a much more patient game and not get caught out and kind of grind results to the point where we can, we can start to move forward a bit. Because that's really what we need to do. Is we need a good solid season, and a good solid set of trophy runs. Oh shoot, to sort of establish ourselves before we start making big changes to what the club is. Plus a full off season, kind of see what we've got, where the good is, where the bad is, and really plot more effectively what we're going to do. So a little disappointing if we're going to take a 0-0 here. With their 10 men, but that's okay. I don't want to get into a space. Points are points, and when we're expecting to be out there dealing with relegation, points are going to be huge. So I'd rather start accumulating them now. Even if they're slowly, that's still not a big deal. So there we go. That's the end of the game. 0-0. Again, like I said, we're not playing the most super attractive ball yet, but we'll see how we can adjust that as time goes on. But in the moment, I want to be, secure, play to the strengths of the squad that we've got, which is, decent passing, but not great dribbling and speed. So, I'm happy with this outcome. So, our keeper was on fire, which is always a good thing. We will eventually start morphing into a, goals and a higher powered scoring offense here, but that's that may take a little bit of time. Oops, I'm sorry, wrong button. To get into. So busy month. We will come back in September at Eastbourne for the away game here at Eastbourne Borough on that. So until next time, guys, please leave a like if you like what you've seen. Remember to hit the subscribe button over there if you want to see more Football Manager 16 content. We have 2x daily content, both myself and Paul with his FC United of Manchester save. So if you like lower league management, you want to see if we can kind of get to the big time, feel free to subscribe so you get notified every day when we put these videos out every day. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.